The third cognitive behavioral module in mothers and babies is contact with others. And after we start with another Violet and Mary's Days, which will introduce the connection between contact with others and mood, we then get into a conversation about the relationship between mood and contact with other people. We start by asking individuals receiving the curriculum the types of interactions that they have with people when they are feeling down, and to generate their thoughts on those types of interactions they have when they're feeling down. And many people will say that they have less contact, have lower tolerance, might feel irritable. And so that is a conversation starter for thinking about the relationship between contact with others and mood. We also ask a follow-up question, which is that if you are isolated, meaning you don't have contact with other people, how might that affect your mood? And that can actually cut both ways. For many individuals, when they isolate themselves, they will say that they feel sad, lonely, depressed, like nobody cares. It actually can be a positive for some individuals when they isolate themselves, because they may be isolating themselves for a good reason. They may be isolating themselves from having negative contacts with people. So that conversation leads very nicely into the next part of the contact with others module, where we talk about the fact that there are different types of contacts that you have, that there are positive contacts that you can have with other people. And those positive contacts can be things that are helpful for your mood and would be uplifting. And there are also negative contacts that you have with individuals. And those negative contacts are things that may bring you down. So talking about the relationship between contact and others and mood is an important one to start this curriculum, this curriculum's third module, but to also make sure that we are talking about this idea that there are both positive contacts and negative contacts that can influence mood is an important stepping stone for the remainder of this module. One of the major aspects of the contact with others module is to get clients to start thinking more expansively about people who are supportive in their lives. In our participant manual, we make a distinction around different types of individuals who can be supportive. We talk about people closest to me, close friends, friends, and acquaintances as being 4 different types of individuals that can be supportive. And for some clients, it's clear that all of those types of individuals can be supportive, but many individuals don't realize that there actually is an array of folks that can be supportive in their lives. Some individuals really will only think about a best friend or a close family member as being part of their support network. So the first aspect is to get folks to start to identify different types of individuals that may be supportive. We also make the point that individuals who are supportive don't necessarily need to be geographically near you. There can be individuals who are supportive who live in another city, another state, another country. There could also be online support groups, Facebook groups that you are part of that could also be providing support for you. So again, one of the important parts of this first aspect of talking about contact with others is to get folks to think about all of the different types of folks that may be supportive, and an emphasis on may be supportive. These individuals do not necessarily need to be actively providing support for you at this moment in time, but really thinking expansively about if you needed something, who might you call on in the future. After we have clients identify individuals who can be supportive, we also ask them to think about different ways in which they can provide support. So we again divide this into different categories, and in the participant manual have 4 different types of support that individuals may be able to provide a client. And taking that list of supportive individuals that a client will have already jotted down, we then will ask clients to think about, well, in what ways do those individuals provide these different types of support for you? So some of those individuals may provide support in just one area. So a close friend might provide emotional support and nothing else, whereas a family member or another friend might provide support in a number of different ways. They may provide emotional support and companionship and advice. So the first step, again, is to have folks identify folks who are supportive. And then the second step is to have folks start to think about the different ways in which those individuals might be supportive in their lives. The idea of doing both parts, the identification of your support network and the ways in which they provide support, the idea of visualizing this on the participant manual sometimes can be really eye-opening for clients to see where they have support and where they don't have support. And so after doing this two-part activity, it can really open up conversations about, well, where do I need to get more support from, and what types of additional support do I need in my life? That then leads to a conversation that we have about ways in which you may be able to find support in your life. And we talk about trying to figure out activities that you might engage in that are pleasurable for you, that may also be places where you can build your support network. So in that sense, we are linking the Contact with Other module to the Pleasant Activities module by saying that if you engage in a pleasant activity with other people, for example, going to a dance class, going to the park where there might be other new moms, you might be engaging in a pleasant activity, but you also may be able to meet new people that would be part of your support network. And even if those individuals that you meet in that group in the park don't become part of your support network, you will at the end of the day at least be engaging in a pleasant activity, which will hopefully still be improving your mood. We also include in the Contact with Other module a topic on communication style and how communication style can influence your mood. And the reason that we talk about communication style in the Contact with Other module is that we know that some clients may have individuals in their life who will provide support without the client asking for it. But in many cases, a client is going to need to ask for support from an individual in their life. And the way in which they ask for that support may influence whether they get the support that they need. So introducing the idea that there are distinct communication styles can be very useful. Specifically, we talk about 3 communication styles that are most common: an aggressive style, a passive style, and an assertive communication style. And we give examples of what we mean by each of those communication styles, and then make the point that an aggressive style and a passive style, while they might get your needs met occasionally, over time, you probably will not get your needs met if you are going back to those types of communication styles. But rather, an assertive style is the communication style that is most likely to get your needs met. We also make the point in the curriculum that somebody who uses an assertive style is likely to get an answer to a question about, well, can I get my need met for this or that? Another point that we make in the curriculum related to the aggressive style and the passive communication style is that somebody who might be asking for support using an aggressive style, they may not get their needs met, but in not getting their needs met, that can also affect their mood. They may not know why they're not getting their needs met, and it is actually because of their aggressive communication style or possibly their passive communication style. And so again, that can have an impact not only on whether they're getting their support or their needs met, but also their mood. One of the last topics that we talk about in the Contact with Other module is the idea of role changes and role transitions. For many of the individuals receiving mothers and babies, they are about to experience a role change, which is that they are about to have a child. For some of them, it may be their first child. For some of them, they may be parents already. Regardless of whether it is their first child or if they have children in the home already, it is still a role change. It is still a role transition. They are going from having no children to one child, having one child to two children. And the point that we emphasize in the curriculum is that this role change can necessitate asking for support that maybe you didn't need before this role change. So thinking about how dramatically life changes when you have a new child in the home, there may be new stressors, new things that you need help with, that you will need to go back and ask those individuals in your support network for. And so talking about the fact that these role changes, these role transitions may actually be a catalyst for you needing to ask for additional types of support. Support from individuals in your network is another important part of the Contact with Other module. We also emphasize the fact that these role changes and role transitions affect multiple types of relationships that you have. They may affect relationships that you have with children that are already in the house. They may affect relationships with your partner or spouse. They may affect relationships that you have with friends and other family members. So also acknowledging the fact that these role changes may bring with them new stress or new dynamics in terms of your relationships is another important point of this topic.